there guys, welcome back to another awesome video, and today's movie review is going to be of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So this is the third installment within the Guardians franchise, and the final installment so far as of now, or as of James Gunn has stated. And this is the second movie within the fifth phase of the MCU, and this will be my spoiler-free review. And I will probably be talking about either I'll do a spoiler discussion, spoiler review, or discussing little spoilers in other videos that I will be doing probably in July or August. So that way this gives you enough time for you guys to go check it out, because I definitely do recommend you guys check it out, whether you want to do it to be a completionist, to see this final installment, to see if it's any good, to see if this will help you be like, oh, Marvel's back or the MCU's back, because not a lot of people have been crazy about Phase 5, Phase 4, and the multiverse saga so far. I definitely do suggest you guys go check it out, honestly, and plus that way all of you get to be able to see it, and then if you haven't seen it, this will be spoiler free. So this time around we have the Guardians on this crazy adventure to basically save one of their fellow members. So this is brought to us, like I said, to James Gunn. Once again, James Gunn helms the director chair for this final installment, and so far he has said this is the final installment. Although he has stated that the Guardians can go on without James Gunn because he's now going to be doing the new DC Cinematic Universe, there's a potential possibility that maybe there will be a Guardians 4. Most likely we will see these characters come back in big crossover events like Kang Dynasty, Secret Wars, and anything else in between like that. And I just want to say right off the bat is that I think everyone does a great job here. I think everyone is fantastic, and everything is really, I think everyone has their own standout moments. I want to say that there are more people that have bigger standout moments than others. Like, obviously a huge crucial one is Rocket Raccoon, because this is more, we're going more into Rocket's story, more of his origin, kind of where he came from. And I feel like, although in my eyes, Star-Lord has always been the star and always has been the leader of this team and of this franchise, Rocket is the heart, or at least he is the main center of the franchise. It feels like from the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, and even more into the second movie, there was bits and pieces of we are getting Rocket's origin story, and it's kind of in full flesh here, and it definitely pulls on the strings. Honestly, bring your tissues, bring any form of tissues, because I had myself tearing with every moment, anything with Rocket, anything with his flashbacks. I cried up a lot. But besides Rocket, I feel like there are some other people that do have standout moments, but I think everyone has standout moments. And I know maybe some people might not like the fact that the Guardians feel like they are very unhinged and uneasy with one another, but I think that kind of is the reason, and it's kind of, I think that helps further this franchise, because it's a bittersweet, somber thing, because after all this chaos that happened with Endgame and the struggles that each individual person went through after Endgame, we see that full flesh. We see that all front and center of how everyone's been struggling. Star-Lord struggling to still cope with the fact that him and Gamora will never be a thing, and Nebula and Gamora still have that, are they on terms well as sisters? Drax is kind of still distort with himself. Mantis is trying to be there for Peter Quill, her brother, and all this other stuff that happens in this movie, and everything feels uneasy, and that's because that everything feels like this is all at stake, and a lot of emotion is here, and it's all front and center, and you can feel that for sure. And I really like that, because the Guardians are like a family, and the family, a generalized idea of family is that you love each other, and sometimes things may get uneasy, and sometimes you might get on each other's nerves, and you might piss one another off in some moments or another, but hopefully in the long run you guys can still love each other, or at least not get as mad as one another, or basically come to say that, hey, let's not be mad at each other, let's not bicker, let's not get angry, let's not do all this shit, because we love each other in the end. So I feel like that definitely showcases in this film, and everyone's great. I will say Will Poulter is fantastic as Adam Warlock. I would have liked maybe more of Adam Warlock, but however, I do believe and do agree that it was better that he had the brief scenes that he did, because this is more, obviously, if there was more Adam Warlock, that would mean another subplot and other things that kind of work into the story while trying to focus on the Guardians, because this is obviously the Guardians movie and this is Rocket's movie, and there's other people's kind of like story and movie going on. To throw in Adam Warlock and give him more screen time would have made it more crammed than it is. And plus, I think we're going to most likely see more of Adam Warlock's potential going forward into the MCU, and I'm excited for that, and I'm really great that he's now a part of this franchise, and it's great to finally see him. Jacudi Iwuji as the High Evolutionary, as our main villain, is unbelievable, honestly, at times. He has that aspect of that you love to hate him, and how unhinged he is. He's kind of very obsessive. He's very eccentric. You kind of see why he gets obsessive and why he gets aggressive, because he, in his eyes, is trying to perfect, not personally or not exactly perfect society or perfect humanity, but more like he's trying to perfect and make his perfect world where humans, how cruel we can be and all this other stuff. But he misses the aspect of that. We have that compassion, we have that sympathy, but in his eyes he feels we are just like beneath him. So he wants to feel higher above, he wants to feel like higher God and all that other stuff. And I think Jacudi Iwuji, and I'm hoping I'm pronouncing his name right and proper after hearing his name so many times, because I tried to listen to how his name is pronounced a few times before recording this. So Jacudi Iwuji, I think, is great. He might be one of those, like, he yells too much, but I think it comes from because he gets so aggressive and eccentric and obsessive all at once, that it kind of feels, it fits really good for him. And I think he's definitely, I wouldn't say he's the best MCU villain, but I think he's definitely one of the better ones. And I don't know, I'm torn with if I like him more or if I like Kang still more. I don't know, but I still like both of these guys. Like I said, this movie brings the feels, this movie brings the songs, it has some really great tunes, you see a lot of great supporting characters. Like, I love that we do see more of those Ravagers like Stallone, and there's Nathan Fillion, just a shout out to Nathan Fillion and a few other people that show up in this. And I seriously do recommend you bring the tissues. And I will say this though, I will say two things here. Is one, that I know there's been a whole big thing that maybe someone's gonna die in this movie, and I'm not going to say or not say if anyone dies in this film, but just don't expect what you're thinking in your head, because I think we all know what's going to happen. Like, for anyone that hasn't seen this movie, if you're thinking, oh, so-and-so is going to, maybe this might be the last time we see him, I wouldn't have that as a high expectation that anyone is going to die, but I wouldn't have that as a low expectation, because just for reasons. Because it had me surprised at how it ended, because I thought something else would have happened, or a few things would have happened differently. And there is a moment that it feels like something's going to happen to one particular character, but it's kind of saved. And I kind of was like, oh, they kind of copped out. But then I thought, you know what, this ending that they have is a lot better than what I was expecting. Because I think it is a better, bittersweet moment, because it has everyone kind of leaving in a sense. Let's just say it at that. And I know that some people will say that maybe this won't be as good, and people are kind of like superhero fatigue, and we've lost that superhero hypeness. Honestly, for me, this kind of brought it back. And there's no superhero fatigue for me, in my opinion. And although I was very mixed about Ant-Man and the Lost Quantumania, I think this movie kind of brought me back, saying that, okay, yeah, at least we had something good this year that came out of the MCU in terms of Phase 5, and that I do believe that the MCU is trying to experiment with the multiverse saga, and I like that it is experimenting in various ways and in various movies. It has gone to show that, and I do appreciate that. And there are some things that I'm still not crazy about, but at least it's experimenting, and I like that it is experimenting. And it kind of, like, even during the Infinity Saga, it tried to experiment a tiny bit, and some of it worked, some of it didn't work. I mean, the first Guardians was in the first phase or the second phase of the MCU, and that worked phenomenally. And look where it is now. Here it is, the final Guardians film. And I think it kind of brings it back. It kind of brings it back to me. I never lost faith in the MCU, to be honest. I had my ups and downs about certain movies and shows, but I think this brought it back. And if you want to take my word for it, I think they brought it back. And sure, this kind of maybe could be an issue, because this franchise, these characters gave us this, like, new look at the MCU, that it's like a space opera and everything's like all space and fun and lots of humor and weirdness. And a lot of the MCU movies are trying to do that weird humor MCU kind of feel, and maybe some people might argue that it's because of this franchise. But to me, I feel the Guardians are still that space pirate funness, but yet they're that family that is also fun yet emotional that we can always look to and still feel unique. I think this is still unique, even though the MCU is feeling very MCU-ish. I wouldn't say it's very, I could see the MCU is very MCU-ish, but I know a lot of more fans will definitely say that MCU has gone very MCU and very too humorous and too kind of weird with things and doing a lot of like, oh, this character's in space, this character's now going to space, these guys went to space, the Avengers went to space, Ant-Man kind of went to space, now Captain Marvel's going to space. It's like everyone's going to space and everything's all space, and that kind of takes away the flavor of Guardians. But I honestly still think the Guardians in their own wacky way are still that family we can always look at and say they are unique. So I am going to say, I'm going to give Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, I am going to give it a solid A. I think I'll give it a solid A. Maybe I'll bump it to an A+, because I really did love this movie a lot. I had a good time with it. I had just so much fun with this film. But what do you guys think of Volume 3? Let me know in the comment section down below. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please smash that button. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe to awesome videos every day, every week. Make sure you ring that bell to new videos every day, every week. Share the video with your friends, all that good stuff and more. Leave any suggestions in the comments. You name it, I'll look into it as best as possible. I got also other reviews I'm going to be doing, some other top 10 stuff, some other ideas as well I'll be working on. You guys will be seeing later on. I'll probably either tell you guys what they will be, or I'll surprise you guys. Whatever the case is, there's all sorts of stuff to look forward to this month and going forward. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.